Hello and welcome to Mission Control Houston. We're going to have a special conversation with one of the flight controllers that works here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room. This is Amy Brzezinski. Thank you for joining us, Amy. Amy works with the onboard data and interfaces network, so she's called an ODIN flight controller. So Amy, can you tell us a little bit about what you do as a flight controller?
Sure. As a flight controller, it's my job to monitor and command the space station, specifically for the CDH system, for the command and data handling system as an ODIN. I'm responsible for monitoring over 48 computers on the space station that control the space station and all its systems. Part of my job, I'm also responsible for uplinking software to support the activities that we do on the space station. And also I'm responsible for moving data around the space station and bringing it also certain pieces of data down to the ground through special data dumps.
Okay, and the computer setup on board the space station is sort of, everybody thinks of your desktop computer that you have, but also the space station is run by computers. So those are a lot of the computers that you're monitoring, right?
Right, so it's a little bit different from what you think of at home as your computer. They're actually like boxes, and there's over, like I said, over 45 of them. And then the crew interfaces with them through laptops. So when you look at a computer, sometimes we call them MDMs. That's a multiplexer, demultiplexer. It's our fancy way of saying computer. It just looks like a box, but there's a lot going on in there, and that's what we use to keep station running and keep all the systems running and get all the data to the ground, so that other flight controllers can monitor their systems.
Okay, and what sort of background do you have that helps you get ready to be able to do this work in mission control?
Well, for one, I'm an aeronautical and astronautical engineer, and so I had a basic engineering education whereby I learned all the principles of engineering and a little bit about computers. And then when I got here is really when a lot of my training really began. I went through 2.5 years of training to become an ODIN, and I learned all about the computer systems that we have on board, the networks. We use 1553B networks, which is kind of an older but very robust network used in a lot of space and aircraft systems. And then I also learned how to be a flight controller and how to communicate effectively with the rest of the team, be able to listen to multiple conversations, be able to solve problems as they come up based on my knowledge of the system. So I think my background education definitely helped me in engineering, and then when I came here I really learned a lot about computers and the system on board.
Is your position in mission control the similar setup as many of them, where they have a back room where you learn how to do specific areas and then come to work in the front room, we call it?
That's right. So when I started out as what we call a Raven, and that's the back room for ODIN. And it's the Resource Avionics Networks Engineer. We use a couple letters there to make Raven. And I started out there, and the back room is really the systems expert. So I learned to become an expert in the system and understand how all the different software and the different computers work, because it's all different, and understand how to do the job. And then eventually I moved into the front room and kind of learned more about the other systems and how the computer system interfaces with them, so that I could better address failures with the team.
A lot of people may be familiar with how the space shuttle was operated, where the crew flips switches and that's how things are commanded. But really with the space station, the computers operate everything and they interface with the laptops.
That's right. So there are a lot more computers than there were on shuttle, and we do a lot of commanding actually from the ground. So a lot of the flight controllers send commands, but I'm also responsible for making sure that those commands go through and the computers process them correctly. And then the crew can interface with the system through laptops on board as well.
And what kind of background led you to here to Johnson Space Center in Mission Control?
It all started when I turned about 12. I saw the movie Apollo 13, and I kind of fell in love with human spaceflight and what NASA did, and it prompted me to continue studying space in general, and then also later on in high school and college, math and science and engineering. So I ended up going to MIT and studying aeronautical and astronautical engineering, and I got my bachelor's degree, and then I decided that I really wanted to get a master's degree and also co-op here at JSC at the same time. So I studied human factors engineering, looking at how people interface with autonomy, with semi-automatic systems. And then I co-opted here in the life support training group and the operations support officer group that do a lot of maintenance on station. And then once I finished my master's degree, I got hired on into the ODIN group to work with the computers.